Hoffman.
Good evening, River West, Milwaukee, and possibly the globe. Welcome to Compose Yourself with Julie Brandenburg. This is a talk show about local music as well as a radio workshop for songwriters and composers. We are broadcasting from the River West Film and Video Headquarters on Center Street in the heart of beautiful downtown River West. Each week, I will have a panel of songwriters, composers, students, and listeners here to share songs and discuss the craft of songwriting and composing. With me today in the studio is Spencer Powers, who is the drummer for Tiger Mouth and Shroud of Despondency, Emily Zimmer, guitarist for the Freddie Lee Band, and joining us today, filling in for Jacob Mushin, who is ill, is Denise Burton, singer, songwriter, composer, pianist, and producer. So, the theme of today's show is Get Out and Vote. As most of you know, there is an election on June 5th, and we on this show have made it no secret that some of us are anti-Walker. If you don't agree, we hope you enjoy the show anyway. I'm about to speak for myself now, not the other panelists or the organizers of this station. This is a talk show about music and not politics, so why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because I'm a music teacher. I used to teach in the public schools, and I now teach at MATC, the only public college in the state where you can be accepted into a music program knowing nothing and walking out with marketable music skills. Music in the primary public schools has dried up to just a few specks of dust, so many of us do not have the opportunity to pursue music even in high school. Now, the Milwaukee Area Technical College, in its entirety, including the music program, is being threatened with enormous budget cuts on top of the cuts that have already been made. I understand that maybe we have to tighten our belts in our jobs just as everyone is tightening their belts everywhere. The teachers' unions have made many concessions with Walker to try and do their part to fix the so-called budget crisis, the reality of which I won't argue here. But when I hear that cuts will begin to affect programs that hurt my students in profound ways, I begin to wonder what our priorities are in the state. People want to save a few dollars on their property taxes, and they don't want to pay for public education to help others less fortunate than themselves. I pay property taxes, and I don't have any children, and I don't plan on having any, but I'm okay with that. What people are going to find out is that in the next 20 years, we are going to have a generation of adults who, because of lack of education, don't have job skills and therefore are not contributing to society, and therefore are not paying taxes themselves to give back to society. Moreover, this will create an environment of more crime, which will cost taxpayers even more in law enforcement and incarceration. This is a downward spiral, and it is the definition of penny wise and pound foolish. This is the end of my editorial comment for today. So I'm hoping everyone goes out on June 5th, that's this coming Tuesday, and votes in the election. We're going to play a number of songs, some of which we already played, that pertain to this topic today and other topics. I want to start with a song by a composer, Jamie Brywick, who is a jazz composer. We have played this cut before, but it's just the coolest song with the coolest title, Imperial Walker. And I just love it because I just see this red carpet of doom roll out as the song begins. So we're going to listen once again to the composition by Jamie Brywick called Imperial Walker.
So did you get to hear it, Nicholas? What just you?
You're listening to riverwestradio.com. That was a cut from Jamie Brywick, and that song is not available on an album, as Emily was eagerly inquiring during listening, because it's a live recording that Jamie provided for me, and then I hacked it up to make it not 16 minutes long, and I still feel guilty about the hacking because many wonderful things were hacked out of it. So I'm guessing if listeners are really into it, which they probably are, I think they could possibly Facebook Jamie Brywick and ask if they also can obtain a copy of this wonderful song, Imperial Walker.
Well, that's interesting. I think I just might.
Well, Emily's she's like, where can I get this? Is this on an album? It's not on an album. So then I would like to know where it can be found. Jamie does have an album out that is available for sale. And I'm sure, again, you can pursue that by looking him up on Facebook or just simply Googling him. When I did that, I've just found a ton of just information about his bands. He's got quite a few different groups that he puts together, including Choir Fight with Steve Peplin, who is the guitar player at MATC. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you know anyone else playing on this cut?
I do know that Steve Peplin was on the cut. I'm not sure who the other players are because I didn't get a list. I know I could list a bunch of people I know that Jamie plays with. That might be guessing. Cool. I know he plays with Matt Meixner on the keys, who's fantastic. I know he plays with Chris Kringle on the bass, who's fantastic, but that may or may not have been
Chris Kringle.
Seriously. I know.
Awesome.
Come on, you guys. He probably gets that all the time.
Yeah, and then when he plays bass, everyone shuts up. So
Nice.
Yep, he definitely.
Soothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So if you want to actually hear our discussion about this piece that we had quite a few weeks ago now, in episode 2, we discussed Jamie Brywick's piece, Imperial Walker. So we're going to move on. As I was discussing earlier, MATC provides opportunities for music students that no other college in the state does. In fact, Emily, weren't you saying that you haven't seen anything like this? You've been around the world. I mean, you've been to a lot of places. You've seen something like this in Paris, France, but not too many other places.
Yes, I've seen the schools in France that are called, in translation, the schools of actual music.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty pretty funny.
Not that abstract stuff nobody wants to hear, but the actual stuff.
No, it just means forms of music that have an extremely rich and highly revered history and cultural relevance that are not often, in fact, hardly ever academically respected. Like there's a school of flamenco there.
Oh, that's neat.
There's a school of jazz there. I mean, although jazz is respected in the higher academic communities.
Also, yeah. So I'd like to play a piece by Denise to kind of give an example of what public education at MATC can yield and what kind of wonderful things can happen when somebody goes to MATC and they can afford to go. And well, you still, I'm sure, are paying student loans, and it's not like you went for free. It's not like anybody goes to college for free, but it was at least affordable. Let's see what happens when someone goes to music school at MATC. Tell us about the song you're going to play.
This song is called Ocean Floor. It does have metaphoric value to the title as it relates to the subject matter. I wrote the song because there was a lot of issues that I've witnessed people going through as far as relationships and infidelity. And so I decided to write a song about that.
All right. We are excited to hear it. Here's Ocean Floor by Denise Burton.
Drown me, streaks of liquid pretty, now smooth. Recollection of how I got here, remembering all that I have done. It was a I pledge my love to. And you look like a better option at the time. Fell victim to an unguarded mind, thinking your eyes, your lips, your smile mesmerize me. This is taboo, but you're so sexy. I'm oh so deep. There's no one saving me. Gotta look up on my face, they dreaming all day. Then I realize that I'm on the ocean floor. Days turn into weeks, months, I'm digging you. Desire growing strong with each rendezvous. I need to slow down, but there's no harm in having a friend right wrong. Cause he don't know about you, that's my cue to leave you alone. But I've developed this emotional soul tie, so attracted I find myself saying, your eyes, your lips, your smile mesmerize me. This is taboo, but you're so darn sexy. Oh, so deep. There's no one saving me. Gotta look up on my face, they dreaming all day. Then I realize that I'm on the ocean floor. Blank stare with sweat bared on forehead. The transfer romance, I'm so there. Sin strangles the voice of my conscious. Deep breath revealing the fact that I want this, yeah. Heaven weeps, these shoes screams unfaithful. As if one man's not enough, I'm so ungrateful. I'm so deep, there's no one saving me. Gotta look up on my face, they dreaming all day. Then I realize that I'm on the ocean floor. Distant past reminds me of the love I'll lose. I'm so ashamed that I did what I said I'll never do. I wish I would have thought this through instead of trading what's real for fools. Baby, please talk to me. I'm oh so deep. There's no one saving me. Gotta look up on my face, they dreaming all day. Then I realize that I'm on the ocean floor. So deep, there's no one saving me. Gotta look up on my face, they dreaming all day. Then I realize that I'm on the ocean floor.
We just listened to Ocean Floor by Denise Burton on riverwestradio.com. What an awesome song. Can I say what I like right away? Can I say what can I say?
Yes,
Can I say
yes,
before
yes.
I forget? Because I'll
I
forget.
think I know what you're going to say because I saw your reaction. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say about 10 things right now, so I'll pick one. And here's the one I'll pick so I don't forget. She plays with these words. All these words are just, the meanings just flip-flop. You know, the deep, things are deep. You know, everything's like, you're getting deeper and deeper into it. And it's like, I'm not doing nothing wrong, right? Wrong. And that whole like wrong, right, wrong, and the flipping of the, that is really clever.
Yes.
It's like you're putting yourself in the mindset of this person and trying to understand why, how somebody could rationalize this.
That's exactly what I was thinking, actually, because well, at my church, you know, I love my church family and everything, but there's been a lot of family deterioration within our fellowship there. And I'm not saying that infidelity was involved every time, but with the problems that was going on, I was just thinking to myself, what would bring a person to that point where they would want to cheat on their spouse? And so I decided to write a song about it. Hopefully when somebody hear it, they'll think before they actually do anything. So that's what I'm hoping the song would kind of trigger, like, oh my goodness, this would set off a whole big chain reaction. And so it's better if it's song about instead of actually you having to go through the situation.
There you go.
itself.
Definitely.
That's why music matters. Thank you for putting it that way. It's hard to put it into words, you know. People say, well, music is so inspirational and it inspired me to do this and this and that. But you kind of said it from the other end, which is like, if somebody hears this first, then they'll think twice about what they do. It's a perspective, putting perspective to it. So
Absolutely.
I really like the piano playing the whole time. It sounded like 3 different piano parts going, like highs and lows, and yeah, definitely.
Thank you. I had fun making that one. It was very outside the box of what I normally do, which is pretty much my whole EP. It's gonna be the whole EP is like that. There's nothing on there that sounds exactly the same. So you heard Clockwork a few episodes back, and Ocean Floor will be on that same EP. And then I have a song that's more 70s rockish that's
Cool.
on there. So you just,
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait, actually.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fun
I
one.
can't wait for that.
Cool.
This
She,
EP.
she has all. She did use some like ocean sound effects, and that, boy, you did that really well because in the wrong hands, sound effects. I've seen that fail miserably. this really it really worked. It wasn't cheesy. It was just because the burbling of that low C sound that you had works really well with that bass.
Yeah, the bass was crunching the whole time. Definitely.
Yeah, that bass gave me a lot of problems actually because it was in the frequencies of my voice, and it was drowning me out. So it took us a long time to get the bass under control. But that was the only bass that would fit the scenario of what was going on. So.
Yeah. How'd you fix it?
We had to do a lot of EQing. My husband and my uncle came over and tried to fix the mess that I presumably made trying to do it myself. And I was like, I am so stumped. So all 3 of us had to sit down and brainstorm for a couple hours to get that bass together.
All the fine tuning.
Yeah.
You know what, though? That happens. You know, sometimes you get stuck and you just call up somebody. I called up Shane Olivo from Bobby Peru's studio and said, you know, I'm just not happy with my drum sound. Can you come over here and give me a lesson? And he did that, you know.
It's worth it to get the sound that you want. Because I wanted to keep the integrity of the bass. It has a growly sound to it naturally, but I didn't want to take away too much where it just sounded like just a regular any old bass.
Right.
Yeah.
But that growly bass had that verbally ocean sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Very neat. There's 2 things I want to repeat. So I don't want to belabor them, but you are working in music. We
Yes,
mentioned
I
that
am.
last week, and so I just wanted to repeat that again for the listeners if they didn't know that. Straight out of MATC, you got a job teaching music to children, and you can only just take off from there. So we talked about that last week, and we talked about how in the past that you do all of your production, and yeah, it's fine to say, hey, you know, I had somebody help me with a little EQ here because we're all learning. Even professionals ask each other opinions and questions, so that's all cool too. So this is what happens when you go to a public music school,
Great things happen.
where things happen. Like Emily, things happened for Emily too. Just so you know, too, the podcast, speaking of MATC, from last week has been posted on my SoundCloud page, but you can also get it on the riverwestradio.com page. It is the episode that we covered the Rock Hunger benefit that I was able to attend. So you can podcast that. We do have a quiz that listeners can still be part of. I'm going to wait to always answer the quiz 2 weeks later to give our podcast listeners a chance to get involved. So, I think it's time for one of our favorite segments of the 2 hours. It's time now for shameless self promotion. Boy, did we miss your kazoo playing last week.
Did. I was terrible last week when I was trying to
Denise, you tried.
It's like
At least you had the courage to
put it-
try.
Put a piece of tissue paper over a comb, and then
yeah, there you go.
go. That would have worked.
Blade of grass or something, right? Isn't yeah.
Hey, she covered pretty well, but we really missed you.
Yes,
you
we
know.
did.
Good deal.
So, yes, we are going to play a song by the Freddie Lee Band. And we're playing this song because Fred has always been very politically aware and active. And since the theme of today is make yourself aware and active and vote on Tuesday, don't stay home. Go out there and vote.
don't think it doesn't matter because you think that, you know, people are gonna just vote your way, and
Yeah.
no.
Or don't give up and think that your candidate is not going to win, so why bother? I mean, at this point, we all know what candidate. I already made my speech. Now I'm just going to say, listen, you know, vote for the person you really believe in and go out and vote. So this song is a song that we as a band are starting to revisit and learn. It's really one of my favorite Freddie songs called Of, By, and For. So let's take a listen. Now, once again, we've discussed on this program, we are really kind of comfortable with playing things that are more demos or older material that may or may not be re-recorded. So we are going to re-record this tune. But for now, this is a great version of By, and For.
Wear a nasty grin. Covert endeavor serve to spread the infection. The country loses and the criminals win. To keep the people fragmented while aching like a friend. And use the Bill of Rights as toilet paper once again. May the people have the right to bring this to an end. Why are we constantly allowing the sleaze? Cornhole our backsides without using no grease. The Constitution don't mean sit to these fiends. And once again they run the show from safe behind the scenes. This must be a dream, a nightmare. It's so Orwellian in every way. It's time to wake up. Be counted. A buy and for it can't be any other way. Check out these folks who try to play us off for dummies. After a thought, it's kind of funny, you know. Like selling guns and rockets long with ammunition. Are we gonna fix the budget selling weapons to our foes? I really think it's time that we apply the golden rule. Enough's enough, the joke's worn thin, I mean we're talking cruel. We made a bunch of monkeys by a caste system rule. The rich they get the gold, we pay for it instead. Ryan wasn't kidding, boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not one kiss first, but then you really don't care. This won't hurt, son, just bend over, now pretend I ain't Claire. This must be a dream, a nightmare. It's so Orwellian in every way. It's time to wake up. Be counted. A vying for it can't be any other way. They should be saying where our billions went. Make them account for every single cent. Stealing and lying is a federal crime. If you or I would try and do that, we'd be doing some time. This must be a dream, a nightmare. It's so Orwellian in every way. It's time to wake up. Be counted. A vying for it can't be any other way. Check out these folks who try to play us off for dummies. After a off the jokes one, then I mean we're talking cool. We made a bunch of monkeys by a cast of system fools. The bits that got to go, we pay for it to sweat. I wasn't kidding, boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not one kiss first, but then they really don't care. This won't right, son, just bend over. Now pretend I ain't there. This must be a dream. A nightmare. It's so Orwellian in every way. It's time to wake up. Be counted. Or vying for it can't be any other way. Use it or lose it. Use it or losing it. Use it or losing it.
Of, By, and For by the Freddie Lee Band. And we're learning this song right now, those of us who are in the Freddie Lee Band, and I'm loving the song. It's just as fresh in my mind as when he wrote it. I don't even know when he wrote it. I don't
Yeah, I
need
was
to know.
gonna ask.
I don't need to know. I don't know.
Meh.
Do you know? Emily doesn't know.
I was thinking about making a humorous guess, but I better not.
It was sometime in the 20th century. Yes, we can we can be sure of
That's
that.
still last century.
Yeah,
We can still joke about it.
we tease Fred all the time. I think Denise picked up on that last week when he
Yeah.
stopped in.
Oh, Fred was here last
Whatever.
week?
Yeah, he
Fred,
stopped in.
Fred teases us when we don't expect it, when we least expect it.
There you go.
He'll be real quiet for a long time, and then he'll come up with something and just giggle to himself, and then kind of mumble it, and he'll go, "Hey, wait, hey!"
Yeah, definitely a lot of funny parts in this song.
I know.
like little Fred nuances and stuff, and he changed his voice a lot in this song. Like this was like the most the craziest singing I've ever heard Fred do. Like he he's like a rock singer. You don't have to like be real involved with your singing and stuff like that, but he was really ripping it up on this track.
I think he's trying to do some character voices in there
Yeah.
to just sort of bring his points across.
Yeah, I forget what the line was or something, but he had one where he like kind of like had the weird voice or whatever, and like good stuff.
Yeah, he'll bust that out once in a while.
I'm excited about doing these background vocals.
I'm excited about the whole tune. I mean, I can't wait till we get it out there live. You know.
I think my favorite part is, at the end, I mean, he's kind of laying it out. Okay, he's kind of complaining about, okay, this is this, and if you're a rich person, you can steal from the banks and make off like a bandit with everybody's pension money. But if you're a poor kid in the inner city and you steal $20 out of a cash register, you're gonna get the cuffs thrown on you. I mean, that kind of thing. He does talk about that in the song. But then at the end, for all the humor and all the lightheartedness of it and all the character voices, he says, fight for your right. If you don't open your mouth and say this isn't right, then people are, it's just like personal relationships. If you let people take advantage of you, if you let people walk all over you, they will.
Yeah.
Yep.
They won't mind either.
No.
Not at all. They'll, if you give them an inch, like they say, they'll take a mile. It's so true. And it's sad because you would think that people would just generally respect others, but that's normally not the case. You have to pretty much have a certain persona when you're encountering anyone for you to have any kind of respect from them.
I completely agree with that. Respect comes in forms that people aren't even aware of. I think people just forget that there are other people around them. And just simple things. Like I'm always working with my students to say, you know, when your colleague is taking their piano exam, you might want to be kind of quiet and not loudly pick up all your belongings and leave the room. You know, just little things like that.
Yeah.
As a teacher, I'm sure you also have had to like teach that, especially the little ones.
All the time. We had our recital last week Friday, and I didn't get a chance to enjoy the recital, not 1 minute of it, because I spent the whole time trying to get my kids to stop dancing in the aisles and to stop talking and to stop hitting each other and to stop slamming the doors open and shut. And
See-
it was yeah.
How many kids was that and what age?
In my class, I believe between 10 and 15 showed up.
Oh my gosh.
They were between the age of 5 and 11.
Emily just blanched. She's
That's
like,
a lot
"Oh."
more and a lot younger than I teach. I
You just had your
was going to
recital,
offer
right?
some suggestions, but
Didn't you just have your recital also with your students?
I did. I make my students learn for weeks and practice for weeks and weeks. Everything from walking into the place to walking up and introducing themselves to walking off the stage and putting their stuff away. I make them practice all of it. Because when they get there, then they're not climbing the walls. At least not until it's over. And then when it's over, their parents can deal with it.
Yeah.
Now, do your kids get a chance to like write some music together? Like maybe write a little song or a little melody or?
They haven't had the chance to do that yet. I wanted to do that next semester because I wanted to introduce a songwriting class inspired by, of course, you, Julie, when I had your songwriting class.
Cool.
And they're excited about it, but I haven't got a chance to actually let the kids come up with anything themselves. But I have come up with a lot of cool original games that they can play.
That's a good way
always
to
good
get
to keep them
students to learn.
organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sung great. They sung really great. It was just the time that we weren't on stage, which was the majority of the 2 hours that we were there.
That's tough. And you know something? Okay, we're talking about children. I have had the experience of having to school adults, okay, at the symphony or at a concert. But I mean, two or 3 years ago, I was given Peter Gabriel tickets.
Nice.
I mean, I can't afford to go to the amphitheater at $50 a pop, and somebody gave me a ticket, and he had his Red Orchestra tour with this beautiful 300-piece string and full orchestra.
Wow.
And of course, when Peter Gabriel does something, he always does it visually just gorgeous and artistic. It was absolutely just gorgeous. And everyone is spellbound by this, except the three people on the bench next to my friend Tom and I, who were drinking and talking and being dudes, bros, dudes. And I finally just leaned over and said, listen, I can't really afford this kind of a concert, so this is a really big opportunity for me to listen to this music. I will never be able to do this again. Do you guys maybe think you might want to just go and be bros and talk and drink somewhere else? That didn't go over very well.
What's that chick?
Exactly. I then became the you-know-what.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I said it as nice as I could, and other people around me were kind of like quietly nodding in agreement. And so we ended up just picking up and moving because at that point it didn't really matter, but we just picked up and moved. But it's sad. People just don't have that idea of, hey, you're ruining a beautiful experience for other people.
Yeah.
These are adults.
That's bros for you. They ruin everything.
Which leads us to a new segment, That Bro I Hate.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
You said like right away when you mentioned like, you know, sitting next to some dudes being dudes drinking beers and stuff, I just imagined them like, you know, like, oh, the harp player's hot, dude. Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
Bros before hoes, dude.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh-oh. FCC. I gotta...
She made the gardening utensil.
Well, the garden does need many different implements.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Really? I was thinking half of a snack cake.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Maybe I'm just hungry.
Now I've got to keep these people under control. I don't know what's going on here.
Wow.
Moving right along, speaking of students, last week we did focus on the benefit concert, and Edgar was not able to get me his song that he wanted me to play last week. It just we weren't able to communicate, and then I went out of town and blah blah blah. So I do have the pleasure of sharing with you a song by Edgar Davis. He goes by Smooth Impact, and if you want to hear his interview about the benefit that he gave me last week, you can look at last week's podcast, which is posted on SoundCloud at /True Jewels, or you can simply go to the riverwestradio.com page and pull down the menu with our show, and you can find it that way. The song we're going to listen to by Edgar is called Head Over Heels.
Hello? Hello? Ooh, yeah. Hey, what you doing? Ooh, yeah. I got something to tell you. Glad to know you. Heels for you. Yeah. So glad to meet you. You are a taste of honey, the best thing for me. My river so deep, you were tailor-made just for me. When I touch you, something takes over me. When you kiss me, it elevates me to a state where I wanna be. Let me get another dose of that tonic, yeah, yeah. What you got inside of you, it blows me away. If we were shipwrecked on an island, as long as you keep holding me, I'll survive, you see. In your arms I lay helplessly, baby. Oh, baby, what you done to me, what you done to me. Yeah, more than I hoped for already. Made plans for you to run away with me. There's nothing that I won't do, 'cause I'm head over heels for you. You shine like new money, a shot of brandy, the only one for me. A fairy tale I come to believe, 'cause you give me everything. Quench my thirst on a sunny day. You inspire me in each and every way. You heat that warms my winter nights. My sexy dick that keeps me right. Let me get another dose of that tonic, yeah, yeah. What you got inside of you will blow me away. We were shipwrecked on an island. As long as you stay with me, I'll provide your needs. We can overcome anything. Baby, 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 baby. What you done to me? So lucky. Yeah, more than I hoped for already. Already. Make plans for you to run away with me. Nothing that I won't do, 'cause I'm head over heels for you. Baby, I wanna be the one. Let me tell you, you capture your heart. Let me show you. I can't get enough. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'll ride with you, I'll fly with you, I'll take you around the road if you want me to. Baby, what you done to me, so lucky, so lucky. Even more than I hoped for already. Make plans for you to run away with me. Nothing that I won't do, 'cause I'm head over heels for you, baby, 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 yeah. What you done to me, so lucky, so lucky. You even more than I hoped for already. Make plans for you to run away with me. Nothing that I won't do, 'cause I'm head over heels for you. Tell you, oh baby, now let me show you how I get down. Tell you, tell you, oh baby now, let me show you how I get down.
You're listening to Compose Yourself with Julie Brandenburg on riverwestradio.com. And that was the smooth sounds of Smooth Impact. And that song was called Head Over Heels. Fabulous track. What do you guys think?
Really good stuff. Really busy with the vocal work. Like, really intense layering of, reminded me a lot of doo-wop and stuff like that. Just kind of.
Yeah, we had some soul up in here. We had, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love the flute in the background too the whole time. Like, I forget what song, old school like 60s or early 70s song that reminded me of, but yeah, really funky with the flute action in the background there.
I was thinking of like 90s R&B with both his song and Denise's song too. Definitely an R&B radio station circa 95, which is some of my like favorite stuff ever.
Yeah, I was listening to some 90s R&B last month, and I kind of forgot how much I enjoyed the songs that were out. And once again, it's like the stuff that you weren't really paying attention to years ago. You look at it in new eyes now.
Yeah.
And this song was really good. I really liked the bass. It was like an abstract bass almost. It never really stayed the same. There's no such thing as an abstract bass, but from the way I heard it, it was just like kind of more free instead of just locked in. The bass wasn't locked into one particular thing. It had freedom to move around and go where it wants to go.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you meant by that because he'd play, a note would play, it would hang for a while, and then it would go down to a first of all, you had to tune down lower than a normal bass would be in some spots, which is great. And it would go to a note that's almost dissonant or a half step away from a note that it would resolve to. And then when it did that, I mean, it was clearly, it fit and it worked, but it wasn't the note you would expect a bass line to take. So it had a really cool. And what was nice about that in my mind is it was a contrast to all the real consonant harmonies that we were talking about. Like you said, there were these thick layers of thirds, you know, stacked up thirds, and so that's where it's exactly the same kind of arrangement of doo-wop, just executed completely differently, but it's the same exact musical stacking.
And I also like just how the song kind of reinforces his head over heel-ness. That's not a word. With the girl. And I like the way the song kind of alludes to a chord, but you don't really know exactly what chord that might be right away. And when you're pursuing a person, you don't really know how they feel about you right away, but you're still going for it. So I kind of like the way the music went with the
it's
It
cool
had a
analogy.
tentative kind of feel. Definitely. The music kind of was like da ba 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 ba, and then it just hung there, and then it went back to where it was before.
Yeah, and like the secondary vocals were like kind of showing how like the emphasis of what the main vocals were saying, because like you'd have the main vocalist saying, you know, like saying something like he wanted to tell her something, and then you'd have like the second vocals in the background like repeating like really fervidly like tell you and like all right, well he really wants to tell her that, so I hope she listens and stuff, and like, you know, like getting a point across for sure.
Yeah.
He's throwing it out there. He's getting his,
putting it all out.
putting his 2 cents out there. You know
No
what I
holds
mean?
barred. Yeah.
Well, it's like the conscious voice and then the unconscious voice is all kind of blended into one. I mean, you can only do that.
And they were all coming in and out so quickly and all that stuff that it was kind of like chaotic, like, you know, like your mind might be when you're first kind of courting someone. Yeah, courting. Yeah.
Courting with
Courting.
a T instead of the chords with a D. You know what other geeky thing I heard in there? And I want to know if you heard this too, Emily. You kept talking about it's time to go to the tonic or it's time to drink the tonic. And I kept thinking, You know what I'm going for? Okay, Denise is
Sure,
cracking
pal.
up.
Yeah.
I am such a geek. Now, explain to these good people why this is so ridiculous and I'm such a geek.
I guess I don't know. I mean, how did I miss
I
that?
just remember that from really early in like music reading or music theory class or something like. And remember, kids, always go back to your
You
tonic.
mean like the tonic?
Yes,
the tonic.
yes.
I was thinking it
That's
was like
so
some
dumb.
kind of really naughty alcoholic drink or something. I'm like, what are you guys
No.
talking about?
No, I'm just being really a nerd.
Oh.
I can relate because I think like that. Although with this particular part, I was thinking drink the whole time. But I know exactly where you was going with that. And it's like, are you going to go back to your original key right there?
Right.
Are you? And that would have been cool if he did.
There you go.
I doubt if he was thinking that, but of course, you know, I'm looking for these double entendres and I'm a nerd, so.
I was like a gin and tonic.
Well, anyhow, so let me explain to our listeners what in the world I'm talking about. When you think of a song that you're listening to, it usually starts on a chord that we think of as being home base. That's the home. And then when we go to other chords, that leads us to other places, which of course we need to do that. Just like any good story, you have to go somewhere else for a while, and then you need resolution. So resolution is one, the tonic. So in a way, I took it that way because I thought, well, that's what he's trying to achieve. You know, this success with this romance and. That's tonic. Okay, maybe it doesn't work, but it works for me.
We could play a musical example of what the tonic is and going back to the tonic.
We could
People would
definitely
understand
do
if-
that.
We've talked about this before.
We have, and you know what? I'm going to start our quiz while Emily's getting her guitar ready.
That sounds
So
great.
here is our weekly, exciting. The segment doesn't have a name, so it's just called the quiz. So the quiz question from 2 weeks ago, my panelists rolled their eyes because it was so easy. And Denise and I kind of looked at each other like, I knew the answer because I looked it up. And Denise is like, I don't know what she's talking about. So here was the quiz question. Emily was not there that week. So the quiz question was, I'm hoping Emily can tie her example in with this quiz question. That's where I'm going with that.
Oh boy.
So the quiz question is, the brothers Malcolm and Angus Young formed what band in 1973? Go
Are we
ahead,
supposed
Emily.
to answer?
Yeah. That's
Am I
from 2
supposed to
weeks ago.
answer?
You can answer.
AC/DC.
Yeah. Yep. Any trivia about AC/DC under your belt there, Spencer?
No, except their first singer went the same way all great rock stars do. Asphyxiation on their vomit after a long night of drinking.
I did not know that.
Old Banshcat.
That happens so often. It's really hard to keep track of all that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you know any AC/DC songs, Emily?
Sure.
That you can show us the example of tonic. Now, you can only play a couple chords, and we're going to pretend it's not an AC/DC song because we don't
Okay,
have the
well, how about-
licensing.
how about the song "You Shook Me"?
Okay.
That's a good one.
So, tell us what the tonic is.
G.
Okay.
My semi out of tune G.
So, folks, play along at home. You're playing a G chord now.
And so it starts at the G, right? Mm-hmm. And then since I'm not allowed to play it, I'll play some chords. Kind of goes up to C,
Aha.
to D, and then it kind of climbs. So it travels up and creates this tension. G to C and D, and then it goes kind of climbs back down to the resolve. So here we feel tension. We feel like it wants to go someplace, right? We're not quite home yet. There's something else coming. If you end the song there, no one will get out of their seat and leave. They'll be very confused. But if you climb it back down,
Yay,
home.
tonic.
Then you can get butts out of seats and.
Everybody go home now. I played the tonic. Darn it, what more do you want?
But at the end, after many encores, not right away. That's
Those
the
were
trick, you see.
That was not the chords to Shook Me All Night Long. That was not those chords, just in case anyone is wondering.
I made
I just
that
saw
up
Michael
myself.
It wasn't.
So, we do have some more quiz questions for this week. And 2 of these questions I will bring to our panel to answer today. And the third one I will leave for our audience to answer. So, all the following things I am about to say are true of Neil Young except for one. You have to pick out the thing that is not true. His full name is Neil David Young. He is from Canada. He was a member of Buffalo Springfield, and he played the harmonica. So which one of these items is not true?
I think I know, but does about the harmonica thing, like, does that count as his main instrument, or does he just happen to be able to play a harmonica?
Just take it at face value.
Okay,
Does
cool.
he happen to play the harmonica?
Cool.
So what
Then
would
I'm
you?
ready with my answers.
What is your answer, Spencer?
I'm gonna say that his name is not Neil David Young. I think he is Canadian, and I'm pretty sure I'm like 95% sure he's a member of Buffalo Springfield with, I think Stephen Stills or John Nash, one of those two. And yes, I believe he did play the harmonica because when he was with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, he always had one of those Bob Dylan harmonica holders up on his gourd there.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
Graham Nash.
Graham Nash, okay,
Aha.
Sorry.
for sure.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with A. His full name is Neil David Young because I've heard that he's from Canada, and I think I remember that about Buffalo Springfield too. There was like a bunch of people who went on to other bands, and I remember harmonica being a major part of lots of his songs. So
Okay, so you agree with Spencer? Denise, are you in agreement?
I am. I think I'm going to go with the wisdom of my fellow panelists here, seeing as how I'm
you're in
clueless.
trouble.
In this case, Denise, you chose wisely because yay, dum-ba-da-dum, Spencer was right.
Yay!
His name is Neil Young, but David is not involved in his name, and I didn't quite catch what his middle name is. That's a major fail on my part. But the David-
What if it really is David?
No, that I know. It is not David. It's something like Charles or something, but David is not the answer.
Oh, and future rock stars, if you want to sound more important, include your middle initial or your entire middle name when introducing yourself. You sound so much more important.
That's how I like to sign stuff sometimes, just to feel official.
Yeah, and you know who I got it from? Yngwie J. Malmsteen. Like, Sweden.
I have no middle name.
You
What?
don't
You
have
what?
a middle name?
I don't.
Oh
How
my
do you
God,
not have a
this
middle
woman's
name?
been deprived.
I have been. Everyone has asked me before.
terrible.
What
Give
is
you
your middle
one.
name?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, do you have a
That'd be great.
nickname?
I have. I do. I'm called Denny. I'm called Niece by my.
That's what I call
cousin.
my nieces. Niece.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. When I was a kid, I picked the name Lachelle. I don't know why. I was
That's
like,
very classy.
yeah, I was
like
like
that.
8.
Who you shall now be thought of from
That's
now
better
on.
than
Denise
Denise
Burton.
Michelle Burton.
Didn't you say Lachelle?
Lachelle?
Lachelle. Yeah, I don't know why I picked that. I was a
I
kid,
like it.
but
That's a lot classier than the things that I picked for my pretend names as a kid.
Alrighty.
Like Herbert Q. Finkelstein.
Nice.
You know, or like
So the second question.
Ba-da-bum. Moving right along.
Like Herbert Q. Finkelstein? It sounds intelligent.
I
Afraid
want to
ask
be
what
called
the Q
Thunderclap.
stands for. That's all.
Yeah, right.
Oh, do you really want to know?
All right. All the following are true of Duke Ellington, except one. His real name and full name was Edward Kennedy. He wrote Take the A Train. He scored out all his songs with full arrangements. He played the piano and also conducted his big band. Let's go the other way this time. Denise, you go first.
Okay, I think for sure, I believe he did Take the A Train. And I'm hoping I don't mess this up because we did sing that song for a choir concert at MATC, very prestigious school. I have to add that in again.
Yes, of course.
So I'm hoping I don't mess that up. Let's see here. We already had a name, a person whose name was not fully that. So I think that's safe to say Edward Kennedy was his name. I believe he did play the piano and also conducted his big band. I think I'm going to go with he scored out all of his songs in full arrangements. I think that would be the one that might be false. I'm pretty sure he has done some, but maybe throughout his career he probably had help along the way. So I think I'll go with C.
All right.
I'm also gonna say C because I think I've heard that that's his real name. I hope I don't mess up the A Train trivia either. I'd be like embarrassed, you know. And
We'll both be.
And I feel like so many images and recordings of Duke Ellington playing the piano and conducting his band. I think, yeah, that sounds legit. For real, not for play. So I'm going to go ahead and go with C because I see tons and tons and tons of jazz music just written out with chords, or everybody's just memorized it, or, you know.
Is that your final answer?
So that's my final answer, C.
All right.
You sure you've seen tons of pictures of him with the piano and stuff? Because it's
Yeah.
either Duke Ellington or some other really famous, really old composer type guy from that same era and that same like vein. I swear, I want to say he was like a xylophone or a marimba player. You know what I mean? Or I'm probably thinking of someone else, but I swear he was either like a vibe player, like a vibraphone, or I could have sworn maybe even not a saxophone player, but like a trumpet player or something. So I want to say D. He played the piano and also conducted his big band. I still think he played like a horn or something and conducted the big band. And
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Spencer, I'm sorry to say that we'll start with you.
Wow.
Yeah. He did play the piano. And
Okay.
I know why you would think that isn't the case, because watching someone play and conduct is kind of interesting. And sometimes he would step away and get another person to play piano. Sometimes he would actually wave his hands around, while he was playing piano. I've seen people do that. That's quite a feat.
Sure.
So I can understand. You may be thinking of Lionel Hampton. He was a vibraphone player that played with Benny Goodman.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he was actually the first African American jazz artist to play integrated in a band. So when Benny asked him to play, this was not done before, and he was also happy to accept. So they toured,
Okay,
and there
so-
were issues there, but he was the first African American artist it was the first integrated jazz band where it was accepted and they toured. So that was Lionel Hampton. He
Then
was
it's
quite
Lionel
famous.
Hampton I was thinking of, because like she was saying, she'd seen tons of pictures of Duke Ellington by the piano, and I swear I just kept on seeing the picture because he's got like a really like happy face, and he's like right in front of a vibraphone, and he's like holding one down and holding one up, and he's like and like you know,
Yeah.
that the for you listeners was the sound of me making a goofy face, but
It was very goofy.
very goofy indeed.
So I'm going to back up then, because the women have agreed that number C, he scored out all his songs with full arrangement, wasn't correct. And quite honestly, you guys sort of, you got me, because you're both sort of right. The word all is a very tricky word. And what I was probably trying to say there is this is something that he was known for doing. But Denise, you have a great point there. So yeah, I mean, there are songs that it's possible. I can't say definitively, no, Denise, every single one of his compositions were scored out. And she also made another point. Yes, we do know that he had a collaborator. Do you guys remember what his name was? Duke Ellington's collaborator? That leads us to B, which is why you were technically right on C and technically wrong about B, but everybody's technically wrong about B. In fact, in the published music, no one at this table can be blamed, and our listeners can't be blamed for thinking that Duke Ellington composed Take the A Train, because it's even in all of his songbooks. It's listed that way on the sheet music a lot of the times. I think the sheet music we used for choir listed it that way. But in fact, his collaborator, Billy Strayhorn, is actually, it's said that he solely composed that piece. Now, I guess my feel for it as I researched this was nobody seems to want to commit to that 100%. In Wikipedia, which we know we cannot completely rely on, they are listing Billy Strayhorn as the sole composer, but then other sources that are scholarly, they're not committing to that. So I've been told it was Billy Strayhorn, and the lyrics were written by neither of those two gentlemen, but were in fact written by Gioia Chorale. So, and that came a little bit later. The lyrics, the music predated. So technically, Denise was correct about C. I can't definitively say that everyone was scored out by him. And she's right on the point that he didn't do all of his arrangements either, that he did have help with his collaborator. So B was the answer I was looking for, but as we just discussed, this question ended up being a little more nuanced than I originally realized. So good observations, people. So here's the quiz question for our listeners to play along with us. All the following are true of Miles Davis except one. His full name is Charles Miles Davis. He was known as the Prince of Darkness by the media. He invented jazz fusion because of artists like Jimi Hendrix. And D, he was part of the cool jazz movement in the 50s. So one of those things about Miles Davis, that's a lot of things. So one of those things is not correct. And as I was reading through it, I was looking for more loopholes I could correct, like words like all or exclusively. And I think I'm okay in the clear on this one. So listeners, if you think you know the answer to this question, please email me at truejules, TRUEJULES, at yahoo.com if you have some comments, if you want to be a guest on our show, if you want us to play your music, if you want to suggest something, if you want to complain about something, go ahead and contact me. We do have a guest next week. Our guest next week will be James Murphy, who has a lot of different projects. So we do have something lined up for next week, but we have some open spots on our calendar, so feel free to contact me.
Awesome. You know, actually, I know James Murphy is getting done writing his rock opera right now, so I hope he enlightens us on what that's all about.
Yeah, we got to ask him about that.
Ooh, that should be interesting. I want to play another song that kind of goes along with our theme today, which is Get Out and Vote. This song is on the side of the unions and solidarity with the movement that happened early in the year where people were in the freezing cold and massing around the Capitol. We've listened to this song before. It's by Strange Land. So we'll just listen, and then we've got some other fun things for you. Got another fun quiz for you. So we're going to listen again to the song Solid. And I guess the reason I really wanted to play this one more time is because I was there for the biggest day in Madison. And I just couldn't believe how many people were there and how many different kinds of people were there and how people were just, not caring about the cold and the crowds, and you couldn't really, it wasn't easy to get something to eat, and everybody was just so completely just solidified. So the word solid is the perfect title for a song about this. So we're going to listen to some Strange Land.
Fight for
You're listening to riverwestradio.com. That was a song by Strange Land called Solid, and it's sort of an ode to the Wisconsin workers' movement of earlier in 2012, which we're coming to an end of an era with our election on June 5th. So I encourage everyone to look in their hearts and vote for the person you think is best for the future of Wisconsin. You know, we did examine this song quite extensively in episode 3, so if you're interested in hearing what our comments were about that, that's in episode 3. But I have to tell you, there has been an update about the song since we discussed it. The update is they did something really neat. That's kind of a cool idea you guys might want to pick up on for your own projects. They have a blog for their band, and they did a game they did a scavenger hunt game. Excuse me. And what they did is they had the songs of the lyrics of the song, and then they highlighted certain lyrics. And what you were supposed to do as the game participant is to go out and find links to videos that depicted what they were suggesting by the lyrics.
Wow.
And guess what? I won.
Awesome.
I was the winner. I was the total winner of the Solid Strangeland contest.
Good deal.
It was a fun little thing to do because, as you know, I was listening to the lyrics and reading, what they were implying. Then, of course, I had to search for what I thought they meant, and I must have been close or right about most of it. And I'm getting a coffee mug with the Strangeland logo on it. I'm so excited.
Radical.
And you guys know I drink a lot of coffee, so that mug will be put to good use.
Good stuff.
So just a really nice little marketing idea, too, for our bands.
It's always good to have a nice mug.
Yes.
A nice mug can get you far in this world. Supposedly. If you drink an Irish coffee, does that mean that you're putting in it a mug shot?
I love it because a lot of people cannot appreciate that kind of humor because I do that all the time. And I get the womp 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 every time.
We don't have Jacob here today, so someone has to make up for it.
Exactly.
Jacob's whole family is like that.
Awesome.
Bunch of smart asses. Oh, FCC. Oh.
You were speaking of the animal that's quite useful in gardening. This is, we could do another show about gardening.
Really could.
We could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it enough. So we've got time for our segment known as Wealth or Fame. So this week, we're going to have our panelists identify the song that was written by the artist that made it famous. Emily, you want to give us our choices here?
Okay, we've got 3 choices. Number 1, the song Somebody to Love by Jefferson Airplane. Number 2, Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. And number 3, Time Is on My Side by the Rolling Stones.
Okay. So I think everyone in our listening audience should be familiar. I actually, Emily had to work today, so I actually compiled these. And I thought, I want to pick 3 that people know. So do we need to do the Compose Yourself panel reenactment of any of these songs? I think we're probably good, right?
Every time I listen to or think of the song "Somebody to Love" by Jefferson Airplane, I always think of the Cable Guy movie where Jim Carrey is singing it, and he's like rubbing his finger on his throat to provide his own vibrato because he's getting so ridiculous with it, like Jim Carrey is known for. But he's like, "Somebody to love," like it's so ridiculous, like because he gets real crazy with it, and like it's this whole like drunken montage of barraged with this vibrato, and just good stuff.
So it was covered in the movie.
Yes.
I
Jim Carrey
see.
does a good Good version.
I see. Sweet Dreams, we remember that one. Dreams are made of this.
All I have to say,
Probably all that I can sing.
I have to say, if anyone wants to know what it is, Mad Planet on a Friday night, you will definitely be bumping to this song.
Exactly. They will play it.
It
That's
will
a guarantee.
envelop your soul, especially if you stand right next to the speaker.
And I think everybody's heard "Time Is on My Side" by the Rolling Stones here, right?
It's
Everybody's
one of my
heard
favorite
that.
Stone songs, actually.
Is it?
Good stuff.
So I am not going to play because I admitted that I compiled these and Emily doesn't know the answers. So, Emily, you want to go first?
Oh, man. I am pretty sure that the first two are original to the artist. So I'm going to go with Time on My Side by the Rolling Stones. It seems a little more like it's been around longer than they have or something.
Okay.
It's a classic.
But actually, Emily, see, I'm getting complicated here. This week, you have to pick the one that was.
Oh, the one that
Written.
actually was.
Was, yes, I
There's
know.
only one then.
She's worked hard today.
That narrows it down. You know, I'm going to go ahead and go with Somebody to Love by Jefferson Airplane, I think. That, I mean, these are all extremely well-known songs, of course, but that seems like maybe the least well-known. Maybe it's been around only since that particular band. It's their original thing. So,
All right, Denise?
I think I'm going to base my vote off of. It has no grounds, but I'm going to do it anyway. The
Good deal.
Eurythmics, I love that name. I would like to think that a group like that might have came up with their own name and did their own little techno thing. So I think I'm going to go with Sweet Dreams. I really like that song, actually. It's just catchy. I like it.
So you're going to vote that that's the one that was written by the Eurythmics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Spencer?
Well, I really like the Rolling Stones and really like the song Time Is on My Side and the early Stones years. I don't think they wrote that one because, like, they were putting out, like, 2 albums a year between, like, 62 to, like, 66, and only until the album Aftermath in 1966 did they start writing their own material and have, like, a full-length album of all originals. So I definitely think that's a cover. And the Eurythmics, I was just talking with someone at work about today, actually. I'm pretty sure that it was, like, I think her name was Anne Lennox or something, the singer, and then I want to say she was married for a long while to the guitar player and keyboardist, and there was maybe just one other person doing percussion, but, like, the guitarist and keyboardist was, like, the main songwriter, actually, and she was, just a singer. So I'm going to say Somebody to Love by Jefferson Airplane was written by Jefferson Airplane, because I think those other two were just, some other people had helped them out with that.
Okay. So we have 2 votes for Someone to Love was written by Jefferson Airplane. And we have 1 vote for Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics was written by the Eurythmics. So I'm going to start with Time Is on My Side. And Spencer, yes, you are absolutely correct. That was a very authoritative explanation of why that is correct. They did not write that song. That song, in fact, was a song written by Jerry Ragavoy under the pseudonym of Norman Mead. I can see why he used a pseudonym. 'Cause
Jerry.
I just murdered his name on the second try even. The song Time Is on My Side was actually first recorded by jazz trombonist Kai Windig and his orchestra in 1963. Then it was covered with additional lyrics by Jimmy Norman by both soul singer Irma Thomas and the Rolling Stones. So you are correct.
I bet you the Rolling Stones did it after they found out Irma did it, because Mick Jagger is a huge R&B fan, and he's always trying to recycle old goodness.
Yeah. So the song was recorded in 63 by the jazz trombonist and then in 64 by the Rolling Stones. So he really, and Irma Thomas, they really hopped on it right away.
Yeah, definitely. That's how it was in the early and mid 60s. Like, song would be out and someone, like, two super popular bands would cover it within, like, that same year, the next.
So let's go on to Somebody to Love. I was then myself very surprised by the answer to this, and I'm afraid both of you folks were wrong in that they did not write that. I know. I really was surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
Yeah.
That song was written by a band called The Great Society, who recorded that in 1966. And then Jefferson Airplane covered it in 1967.
They hopped right on that too, huh?
Dude.
Yeah. I can't say I've ever heard any other version, which is why I was very surprised to hear that it was recorded and written by someone else. Which means that, Denise, you were correct. The Eurythmics did write Sweet Dreams, and you are correct in saying, Spencer, that she was married, in fact, for a long time, and I think had a daughter who's a musician now with the keyboardist and guitar player. I do believe, however, she may have had a huge role in writing the song as well. She did go on after the breakup, which, you know, unfortunately that happens. She went on to do a solo album of all her own songs, which are fantastic songs.
Annie Lennox is so awesome. I
Denise,
just want to say,
are you familiar with her solo album at all?
I was not. I'm going to have to check it out.
You
now.
will like it.
Yeah.
you have to check out.
That
Yeah.
would totally
That.
be your total thing. There's a song that I cover in my solo act where she's got these voices in the back going ba-da-da-da-ba-ba.
That was
That's her, right? I knew you
Now
heard
you
this
know,
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then also Walking on Broken Glass. That's her
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's
That's
funny
her
how you
too.
hear things
But-
and just don't know who it is, but love
Yes.
it.
You gotta
Check
hear the
that
rest of it
album
though.
out.
She's so awesome. I can't even begin to describe. And her live stuff is good and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
just really great.
Just a powerful performer. She's a very
And
commanding
unique.
performer. And
She-
very unique.
She's kind of like the female Bowie,
Nice.
but really, really powerful voice.
Yes, yes. She is very difficult to cover. When I cover her, if I am having allergy issues, the song will be struck from the set because got to have a clear tone to even like try to pull it off, and I never even hope to emulate her.
I love that you do that song though. I love that. I love that.
It is a fun song to do. Well,
It's my jam.
I have to tell you, we've come to the end of another fabulous Compose Yourself show. I'd like to thank Spencer Powers and Emily Zimmer and Denise Burton for joining me this evening. Jacob Mushin is out. He is ill, but we'll be joining you next week. And I'd like to leave our show tonight reminding you again that Tuesday is Election Day, so please vote your heart, vote your soul, stand up for Wisconsin the best way that you feel in your heart is right for you. And we're going to go out with another Freddie song. And this one is called Not in My Name. So it's another political song. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a really great week.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So you finally got your war with that Middle Eastern nation, but there was fecal matter in
without one shred of proof. Your speculation brings the nation to a monumental goof. And still no proof. You claimed you had good reason, but you would not show your hand. I think it's about control of the oil beneath that land. Yes, we can see where you're going with your greedy, evil scheme. You want to misuse freedom's army and set up a false regime. Just another one of your sneaky, underhanded ploys to use Marines as if they were your personal toys. Nobody except people thinks like you. They're not your toys. And dress them up in red and white and blue. While he was killing his own people, you had nothing to say. For the better part of a decade, you backed him all the way. I guess it's in the Constitution that what you're trying to do is so wrong. Imperialism for the top 5%, and you hope we'll go along. You tried this one before in a country called Iran. You got rid of the people's ruler and put in a cruel and evil man. They finally ran him off, and they point to us for blame. What makes you think the scheme of yours won't turn out just the same? You won't fool nobody, except people thinks like you. Just the same. Dress him up in red and white and blue. We'll be to blame. Won't fool nobody, except people thinks like you. It's such a shame. Dress him up in red and white and blue. You won't fool nobody, except people thinks like you. Take a pig and dress him up in red and white and blue. You won't fool nobody, except people thinks like you. Take a pig and dress him up in red and white and blue. You won't fool nobody, except people thinks like you.
And I can see Russia from my house.